There is a wasp nest hanging under the lip of your porch roof right now, and boric acid is how you kill it. Maybe you saw it this morning when you walked out for the paper. Maybe you have been watching it grow for 2 weeks, hoping it would go away on its own. It will not go away. The colony that built it will be back next spring and the spring after that, and the one after that, because wasps do not find a good location by accident. They remember it. They pass it down. You have tried the spray can from the hardware store. You knocked the nest down, maybe, or you killed the wasps you could see. But by August, the population had rebuilt itself, and the porch was theirs again. That is not bad luck. That is what happens when you treat the symptom and leave the cause alone. There are 2 things you need to do, and they are not the same thing. The first is to kill the wasps that are already there. The second is to make sure no colony ever decides to nest on your property again. Most people do only one of these and wonder why the problem comes back every year. I am going to show you both methods in the order you do them. The first uses a simple mixture you can make this afternoon. The second costs almost nothing and requires about 15 minutes of work. Once. Together they form a complete system, the wasps you have now and the ones that would have come next year. Both of them handled. Before I go further, let me explain why this problem keeps returning, because if you do not understand this one thing, neither method will make full sense to you. A wasp queen that survived last winter is flying the perimeter of your property right now looking for a sheltered location with reliable foraging nearby. She is not choosing at random. She is checking overhang depth, sun exposure, proximity to food sources, and whether the location is already claimed. If she finds a spot that passes her criteria and shows no sign of another colony, she will start building. Your porch, your shed eave, your fence post, the gap under your deck railing. She is not a pest. She is an insect doing exactly what her biology tells her to do. But she is doing it in your yard, and that is the problem we are solving. Every week on this channel, one honest fix for your home and your yard. 30 years of methods, tested by hand, nothing sold to you. If that is useful to you, subscribe, and the next one will find you. Now, the first method. The materials are simple. You need boric acid at 99.9% purity. Not a diluted product, not a premixed spray, just boric acid. 2 pounds container runs about $14 at most hardware stores or online, and that quantity will last you several years. You need a small container with a tight-fitting lid, something like a recycled deli container or a shallow jar. You need a sweet liquid attractant. Sugar water works, but something slightly fermented works better. Flat soda, diluted fruit juice, a spoonful of jam dissolved in warm water. The goal is a liquid that smells strongly of sugar to an insect. Mix the boric acid into the attractant at a low ratio. This matters more than most people realize. If the concentration is too high, the wasp that drinks it dies before she returns to the nest. You want her to drink it, carry it back, and feed it to the colony. A ratio of roughly 1 teaspoon of boric acid per cup of liquid is the range that works. Stir until dissolved. Wear disposable gloves while measuring and mixing the boric acid, and avoid creating dust when you pour it. Work over a bowl, not in open air, and wash your hands when you are done. Store the remaining boric acid in its original sealed container, out of reach of children and pets. Clearly labeled. If the powder gets in your eyes, flush with water for several minutes. It is toxic if swallowed in quantity, so never leave the dry powder or the mixed bait where a child or pet could reach it. Now the container. Cut 2 or 3 small entry holes in the lid or the upper sides, just large enough for a wasp to enter, but small enough to prevent anything larger from getting in. You are not trying to make it difficult. You are trying to keep birds, dogs, and beneficial insects out of it. A hole about the diameter of a pencil is sufficient. Pour the mixture in so it covers the bottom by about ½ inch. The wasps will land on the rim and drink. Now, 3 safety points before you go near that nest at all. If you or anyone in your household has a known allergy to wasp or bee stings, do not approach the nest yourself. Have someone without that allergy handle it, or call a pest control service instead. Mows are dark when wasps are least active, and use a red-filtered flashlight rather than white light, since wasps are drawn to white light at night. Wear long sleeves, long pants, and closed shoes, and move slowly near the flight path, never suddenly. You are stung and notice swelling beyond the sting site, trouble breathing, or dizziness, treat it as a medical emergency and call 911 or get to an emergency room right away. Place the container close to the active nest, but not directly beneath it, near the flight path, near where you have seen them foraging, not on a surface where your dog walks or your children play. Set it on a fence post, under a porch step, on a ledge near the eave, away from where you eat, away from flowering plants that pollinators visit. You are drawing the wasps toward the bait, not toward yourself. You do not want this sitting where rain fills it and dilutes the mixture, or where full sun evaporates it within a few hours. Partial shade, stable surface, checked every few days. Get the ratio right, place it correctly, and walk away. The bait does the rest. Results are not immediate. Boric acid does not kill on contact. It disrupts the digestive system of the insect over a day or two. The colony weakens over the course of 1 to 2 weeks. You will notice fewer wasps at the nest entrance, then none. At that point, the immediate problem is resolved, but the location is still a good location. The next queen that comes through next spring will find it just as attractive as the last one did. That is where the second method comes in, and this is the one most people have never heard of. Wasps are territorial in a specific and useful way. A queen searching for a nesting location will not build where another colony already exists. She is assessing risk. A location already occupied by an established colony is a location where she would have to compete for resources and potentially fight. She moves on. This behavior is well documented, and a convincing imitation of an occupied nest is often enough to send her looking elsewhere, though it will not work against every species every time. The decoy nest. You can purchase a paper imitation at many garden centers, or you can make one in about 15 minutes. Take a paper grocery bag, crumple it loosely, then stuff it with more crumpled newspaper until it holds a rounded shape roughly the size of a large grapefruit or small cantaloupe. Tie the top closed with a short length of twine. The shape does not need to be perfect. Wasps are not looking at fine detail. They are looking for a general silhouette that reads as an occupied nest. Brown, papery, roughly round, hanging from an overhang. Hang it with about 8 inches of twine from the eave of your porch, the soffit above your garage door, the rafter of your open shed. At head height or slightly above, visible from the approach angles, a queen would be flying. You can seal the outside of the paper bag with a thin coat of exterior wood glue or diluted white glue to weatherproof it for the season. One decoy covers the immediate zone around it, roughly a 10 to 15 foot radius. For a larger property or multiple outbuildings, hang one at each structure. A decoy hung by early spring covers you through the full founding season, which is when it matters most. Refresh the boric acid bait when it runs low or goes cloudy. What do you notice this year around your yard about where wasps tend to land and walk? What surfaces they seem to investigate? Tell me in the comments. I read every one. I did not learn this decoy trick from my father. I picked it up from an old-timer down the road not long after Yuki and I bought our first house here. And he hung 3 of them around his shed from late spring through early fall and never had a nest inside it. He replaced them each spring. Took him less time than it takes to walk to the hardware store, a handful of newspaper, a paper bag, and a piece of string. That is the whole cost. One honest limitation I want to name, because I would rather you trust me than be impressed by me. The decoy will not move a colony that has already established itself. It deters new queens during the founding stage, which is early spring. If a colony is already active and building, the boric acid method handles them. The decoy handles next year. The sequence matters. Eliminate first, then deter. That is the decoy you want hanging before the nest is even gone. Here is what to do this weekend. If you have an active nest now, mix the boric acid attractant today and place the container near the flight path by tomorrow morning at dusk. Check it in 3 days. While you are waiting for the colony to decline, make the decoy. It takes 15 minutes and costs nothing if you have newspaper and a paper bag in the house. Hang it before the nest is fully gone so the location reads as occupied to any scout that comes through. 2 weeks from now, the nest is quiet. The decoy is hanging. A queen that searches your property next April will find what looks like an occupied location and move on. The one after her will too. The boric acid runs about $14 for enough to last several seasons. The decoy costs whatever a paper bag and a handful of newspaper cost, which is nothing. The two methods together require about an afternoon the first time and almost no maintenance after that. The nest you have now is a 2-week problem. The nest you never get is free. Handle both, and you will not be back here doing this again next August. Next time, we are looking at subsoil compaction, the same story as this one, where the cause is never what the product aisle tells you it is.